Tom Brady's victory yesterday. We're going to discuss it and the implications. This was a victory sending Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the Super Bowl, but more importantly, it's a life lesson for society. And I'm going to break it down for you in perhaps a way that you haven't thought of before, and perhaps even Tom in his humility wouldn't care to discuss. He's a very humble guy like myself. But on Tom's behalf, I'm going to kind of break down that victory, not in a football methodology, although I could do that. Just check out that beach back there, folks. But more in a social way, a social manner. This game was a victory of the individual over society. Tom Brady's victory with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the coach, of course, not taking away from their contributions, but Tom, in leading the comfortable, in leaving the known, his team of many years, I guess going back to 2001, 2000, 6 Super Bowl rings. On top of that, another 3 Super Bowl losses. So a total of 9 Super Bowl appearances with the New England Patriots, a 6-3 record, 2 victories for every loss. Just really in such rarefied air that you'd have to go to other sports such as basketball to compare him to Michael Jordan for any type of reasonable comparison to another athlete's greatness. Tom Brady saying, I don't like the way I've been treated here in New England. I don't like the way that this owner and this coach kind of left me hanging during Deflategate, even though that was 3 or 4 or 5 seasons ago. The fact that that ownership, Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick, did not step up and clear Tom Brady's name, and that they never fully apologized. I believe the owner, Kraft, tried to do some recon later, but they never fully cleared Tom, in my opinion. Probably Tom's opinion too. So, moving forth, when this opportunity, and they never fully paid him well either, by the way, Tom was always willing to take pennies on the dollar of his worth in order to allow the salary cap and the team to have the ability to get other players. And sometimes they didn't do very well with that. Now, did they? Coach Belichick never really took the draft seriously. And it's just kind of disappointing for Tom many seasons. So when the opportunity came to go somewhere else, Tom Brady took it. And he took a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in, 15 years, had never sniffed a championship, okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you remember the old orange and white logo of that Buccaneer with the sword in his mouth, just a team that had been somewhat the laughing stock for decades, and just a team under the radar, but had the raw materials but needed a leader. And Tom Brady said, let me be that leader. Let me fill that void. For wrestling fans, the late, great Brodie Lee stepping in and saying, let me be the leader of the Dark Order. Kind of an interesting comparison. But Tom Brady just saying, I will be the leader. I will lead these men to a championship. I will lead this city, this state to a championship. And of course, even leaders need leaders. Tom knew that I had moved here to Florida myself just 6 months before him. And watching my videos, I'm guessing Tom was assured that Florida was a nice place for him and his family to be, so he was comfortable with the move. So Tom came here to Tampa Bay. Now, I'm a few hours north of Tampa, but, it's all Florida. Tom Brady molding the team, molding the city in his own image. Meanwhile, up in New England, good old Bill Belichick struggling, trying to patch in the holes, trying to make this thing work. I feel a little bad, actually, for Cam Newton. Had big shoes to fill. I in a strange way, I hope that Cam Newton comes back next season, does a little bit better. But He also struggled with coronavirus, so let's give Cam Newton credit. He did the best possibly that he could. I just think he had a tough hand to deal with. But now we're seeing the victory, going back to Tom Brady, we're seeing the victory of a man following his independent path, a man following his own heart, his own gut instinct, not being classified as just a player, just a quarterback. You could have had anybody in there. All these hypotheticals. What if Bill Belichick had coached Peyton Manning? What if Bill Belichick had coached whoever? No, it's all fruitless now. It's time for any last holdout, kind of like the people that think Trump won the election. It's time for anyone who doesn't honor and respect Tom Brady as a football player. Now is your chance. I saw Max Kellerman eating humble pie and singing the praises of Tom Brady this morning. The cliff, huh, Max? So it's time for everyone to show their respects. We are witnessing the greatest athlete in modern history. Some might say, well, Tom never got tackled like Joe Montana did. Well, I would say that for at least the first half of Tom's career, these restrictions on quarterback hits were not so severe, maybe 2/3 of Tom's career. So in that sense, I would disagree. I'd say that Tom had plenty of his career under the old way of doing things, dealing with teams such as the New Orleans Saints, who had that headhunter controversy, if you remember that, from when they won the Super Bowl. In this playoffs, by the way, who did Tom Brady beat? The wild card round, he beat the Redskins, or the former Redskins, now the Washington football team. Then going to New Orleans, defeating Drew Brees on his home turf, and then going to Green Bay and defeating Aaron Rodgers on his home turf. So Stephen A. Smith might scream he's a bad man about Aaron Rodgers. Well, what does that make Tom Brady? Huh? 6 rings, possibly getting a 7th. I think he will. I think what we have here, experience versus rookie, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. I could see Mahomes winning. I'll be honest with you. This game could go either way. I'm going to stick with my buddy Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. Winners stick together. It just goes to show that a man leaving society, not being told that he has to conform, not being told that he has to be a good little boy and do what he's told, just like myself. Look, I could have stayed in New England for the rest of my days, but I had to come to a conclusion. Do I want to die in New England? Do I want to live and die in New England? And the answer was, quite frankly, no. As you can see,